today we are talking about an awesome topic. We're talking about none other than procrastination. Why do I want to talk about procrastination with you today? Well, because this is a topic that I have a lot of experience with. I used to struggle with procrastination profoundly. I still do some days. And every single time I talk about the topic of procrastination, the research, the science on social media, you guys go crazy. I mean, this stuff goes viral. And even when I'm working with major brands like Starbucks or Microsoft, or just last week I was in San Diego speaking at this secret event for a company that is in the human genome sequencing space. I mean, really cool stuff. At some point, everybody has a question about procrastination or is struggling with it and seeking tools that they can use to stop procrastinating and be more effective and more focused. And honestly, this is such a big topic and an important one. I'm kind of surprised that you and I haven't talked about it yet. I have the 5-second rule book right here on my lap because I even wrote and researched an entire chapter about procrastination for this book. So I love teaching this topic. You're going to love what you're about to learn because everybody struggles with procrastination. I've already admitted I'm a former chronic procrastinator. You've heard all about the all-nighters I've pulled in college. I want you to know you are not alone. And I want to say right up front, the reason why you struggle with procrastination is because you're thinking about procrastination wrong. I used to do the same thing. And so today, you're going to stop beating yourself up, and you and I are going to get to the root of what's truly going on when you struggle with procrastination. And by the end of the episode, instead of saying to yourself, why can't I just make myself do this? You're going to change the question. Because you're no longer going to think there's something wrong with you. Why can't I just get this done? You'll be asking yourself the questions that, based on research, these are the questions that you should be asking yourself when you're procrastinating, which is, how am I feeling right now? What is truly stressing me out? If you want to stop procrastinating, you have to understand it. You have to understand why you do it, and you have to understand the deeper issue that triggers you to procrastinate. And that's why we're not going to procrastinate on the topic any longer. You and I are talking about this sucker today. And I have this incredible question that I want to share with you from a listener named Viddy. And I'm going to play it for you in just a minute. But before I do, I want to give you 4 takeaways immediately, because I want you to start changing how you think about procrastination immediately. So rule number 1, stop labeling yourself a procrastinator. You are not a procrastinator. You have a habit of procrastinating. Big difference. When you call yourself a procrastinator like I used to, it becomes part of your identity. And procrastination is not a personality trait. Procrastination is a broken pattern of behavior that you need to understand, and then you need to fix it and replace it with something better. And you may be the kind of person right now where procrastination is chronic in your life. That's okay. That just tells me that the stress in your life is also chronic. And so today, whether you're just kind of procrastinating on the little things or you're so stressed out because you constantly procrastinate on the big things, you are going to get simple tools to change this. And you're also going to take your power back. And that brings me to takeaway number 2. There are 2 kinds of procrastination. There is destructive procrastination, which is what we're going to focus on, and there's productive procrastination. And when I learned about productive procrastination when I was researching the 5-second rule book, I was relieved because it's helpful when you consciously choose to take a break from something in order to clear your mind. Like, for example, if you're working on a really hard project and you decide to go outside and get some fresh air and take a walk and relieve the stress that you're feeling before you come back. That kind of avoidance or delay is conscious and it's productive. But we're going to focus on the destructive procrastination, okay? And that's the kind of procrastination that you might not even realize the extent to which you're doing it. It could be micro procrastinations that you're engaging in all day, like the fact that you waste hours on social media, probably every single day. And by the end of the week, you're shocked to learn how all those tiny little micro delays added up to a whole lot of wasted time or whether the kind of destructive procrastination that you do is pretty major. You know, when you're actively avoiding something big, like your dissertation that you need to finish, or the application that you need to fill out, or posting videos on your YouTube channel, or making sales calls, or in the case of the listener that you're about to meet, who is an artist, procrastination is eating her alive. Because every single time she sits down as an illustrator in the morning to work on her portfolio, she can't do it. Just listen to Vidhi talk about how this happens.
Hey Mel, first of all, thank you so much for selecting my question. I was beyond happy to see your mail. So my name is Vidhi. I am an illustrator by profession and I absolutely love drawing. But what's been happening for quite a long time now is more than enjoying the process, I am worried about not being able to do a good job with it. Before I even start, I am worried about the end product. Every morning, I cannot wait to sit on the desk and start drawing. But the moment I get in that chair and I have to start drawing, oh my God, Mel, the level of anxiety and doubt and fear. It's like I bury myself deep with all the excuses one can find in the world. And by the end of it, I am so exhausted and tired with all the negative self-talk. I have absolutely zero energy left to do anything. I just want to get in bed and never get out.
I just love her. Vidhi, thank you for that. I just want to reach my arms out. I don't know if you can feel this, Vidhi, but I am sending you, we are all sending you this big virtual hug. That is so frustrating, and I can relate to that. Can't you relate? It's almost like anguish in your voice. When you're in a situation where there is something in your heart that you know you need to do, or like Vidhi, this is a calling. She's an artist, an illustrator. You can tell how deeply she cares about this, how much she wants to do this. And you may feel that way about the business that you're running or the program that you want to apply to. You know, I feel this way about something that I need to do. It's not a calling, it's something I need to do. And that is, I have got to book an appointment to go see a doctor about my hormones. And I was sitting there this morning. I've been thinking about this for a long time. And as I'm sitting here talking to you, my pants are so tight. I'm looking at this kind of hump in the center of my pants. And half the time, my zipper, I notice, is kind of dropping down about a third of the way. I call this hump my breadbasket. And I hate it. And I think about it every day. I think about it every day because when I pull on my pants and I have to zip my pants up, I have to like stick my rear end backwards and sort of suck in to get the zipper of my normal pants up over the breadbasket that I have developed. And, you know, I'm 54. I'm going through some hormonal changes. And what I'm realizing, and I'll unpack this as we talk about the research-backed ways to deal with procrastination, is I'm really triggered by this. I'm really triggered by this because it's a reminder that I'm getting older. It makes me feel like I'm not in control of my health or my body. And the other thing that's adding a lot more stress to this topic, because, you know, let's face it, it sounds kind of stupid and simple. Mel, call the doctor. Like, how hard is that? Why are you procrastinating on that? Well, believe it or not, one of the major things based on research that you and I procrastinate on, making medical appointments, getting medical tests done. So, you know, on top of this, I keep thinking about the fact, and a lot of you know this, that I'm doing this mental discipline challenge for 75 days called 75 Hard, which I talked all about on that episode, 5 Essential Hacks I'm using to make habits stick. So I need to put this in context for you because the last 30 days, I haven't been drinking alcohol. I'm exercising twice a day. I am drinking more water than ever. I am healthier than ever. And I would think that I would feel really good in my body. And I know some of you look at me and you're like, Mel, come on, like you're my body goals. Like stop bitching about your body. But the truth is, this isn't about what I look like. This is what I feel like in my body. And I know it's confronting me because I'm getting older. And the shit that I've been doing my whole life to stay healthy and vibrant and feeling good in my body, it's not working. Clearly it's not working because I'm getting that thickening in the middle. And as I talk to my girlfriends about this, you know what they say? They say, yeah, I went to my doctor too, Mel. And you know what they told me? Yeah, just stay active. You'll probably gain 5 to 10 pounds and then it'll probably come off when you're 60. Talk about triggering. So I relate to this because it's something I'm thinking about. It's something that's on my mind. And I bet you've got something like that too. And so before we keep going, I want you to think of something in your life, something like Viddy's describing. Maybe you got to sit down every morning and you're trying to inch forward on some project and you just can't get yourself to do it. Or like me, you're procrastinating on making a medical appointment. Or maybe it's the sales calls. And I'm telling you this because I want you to not just listen. I want you to apply this in real time to what you're dealing with, because there's a lot more going on when you're procrastinating than you realize. And that brings me to this question. And, I realize that by confessing this to you, you're probably thinking, how could you possibly be teaching me about procrastination if you are engaging in it, Mel, and you're confessing this to you? Well, I once heard somebody say that you're best equipped to help somebody that you used to be. And I used to be a chronic procrastinator. And I now know what you're about to learn. And so I can spot this stuff immediately. And it's also why I know that there's a whole lot more going on as to why I've avoided calling the doctor to date than just calling the doctor. I hate getting older. I hate feeling like I'm not in control. And we're going to unpack all of this, which brings me to the third takeaway about procrastination. And that is, you can learn how to stop procrastinating. And I want to say this very loud and clear to Viddy and to you. You're capable of this. You don't lack willpower. You're not lazy. You're not stupid. There's nothing wrong with you. Can we be honest as friends? You can fill out the financial aid forms. You can train for a marathon. You can repair your marriage and get to therapy. You can get to the doctor. And you know what else you can do? You can stop beating yourself up about this, and you can stop making yourself wrong. Because right now, you're about to learn something. You're stuck in what researchers call a procrastination cycle. This is this vicious cycle because you don't understand procrastination. Neither did I. That's why my chronic procrastination spun out of control until I learned everything that I'm about to teach you. And that brings me to the fourth takeaway. Every single time you're procrastinating, it's being triggered by stress. See, that's the crazy thing about procrastination. It has nothing to do with what you need to do. Procrastination, defined in the dictionary, is avoiding or putting something off, delaying it. But when you look at the research, and we're going to dig into that in a minute, the way that researchers define procrastination is that you are avoiding stress. That's what you're avoiding. You're not avoiding the application. You're not avoiding the illustration. You blow off things that take brain power because you are trying to avoid stress. Procrastination is the attempt to feel better in this moment. And strangely, what you're about to learn is that when I walk you through this 3-step research-backed technique that you're going to use every single time that you catch yourself procrastinating, is that procrastination is triggered by stress. That's what it's about. I'm going to say that again. Procrastination is a habit that you have learned and that you repeat whenever you feel stressed. And this comes from research from Dr. Timothy Peichel at Carleton University. His definition of procrastination is this: a subconscious desire to feel good right now. And he shares that procrastination, it's just all about stress. And I'm going to unpack this for you because when you first hear that, wait, procrastination is a subconscious desire to feel good right now? How the heck does that make sense? I mean, Viddy really wants to draw, Mel. So wouldn't it make sense that she'd feel good if she were drawing? Sort of. Sort of. And I'm going to explain this. It makes sense intellectually, but when I unpack how stress is triggering you to stop doing something that you care about or that you need to do, this is all going to be like, holy cow, why didn't I hear this sooner? So I'm going to give you an example. But I want you to understand that that stress that is triggering you to procrastinate, it could be something going on in your life right now, or it could be deep-seated stress, like childhood trauma. It could be anxiety or depression or something in your past that you haven't dealt with, a situation that you're worried about that's completely unrelated to work or to the things that you need to do. It might just be the relentless pressure and stress that you feel because you are so hard on yourself. I mean, you haven't even met Viddy, and you can hear in her voice. The woman beats herself up all day long. Talk about stressful. And that's why I'm so excited to be able to teach this to you today. It's why I love this topic so much, because when we talk about procrastination, we're not talking about getting shit done. You're going to get shit done as a byproduct. But when you truly understand the research and the topic of procrastination, it's about self-awareness, stress management, and being effective and productive on the things that matter to you. It's about feeling a sense of control and agency in your life. So let's really unpack what it means when I say that your habit of procrastinating is triggered by the stress in your life. Stop and think for a minute. What is stressing you out right now? I just kind of talked about the breadbasket, getting older, that kind of stuff. But let me stop and think, I'm stressing about the fact that my parents are getting older. And I haven't seen them in a while. I'm going to go see them in a week. And it's making me realize, my God, we have not seen each other. And I hate that. I hate that. I hate that. It stresses me out. Maybe the same is true for you. Or maybe your mom and dad, their health is failing. And it's really upsetting you. Or perhaps like I used to have profound financial stress, like just crushing, relentless financial stress, always on my mind, always worried about it. Or your best friends are going through a divorce. Maybe that's something that's on your mind and it's really bothering you and you don't know what to do about it. And so here you are in your day-to-day life. You got this big thing that is on your mind. You carry it around like a backpack of stress. You're thinking about it all the time. Maybe it's even just in your subconscious, just grinding away at you. You haven't been working on the dissertation. Oh my God, I need to work on that thing. And why am I not getting to it? And oh my God, I need to do this. And so here you go. And like Viddy, you sit down and there's something you need to do. Maybe you have to work on your portfolio. Maybe you got to make a few sales calls. Maybe you need to sort through all of those medical bills and figure out like how to get compensated and reimbursed from insurance. Talk about like something that requires concentration. Maybe you're working on your business plan. Maybe it's something you're really excited about. You're working on the next chapter of your book. But as you sit there and you start to do the work, here's what's interesting. You need to concentrate, don't you? Like doing that thing requires a bit of focus. It requires your prefrontal cortex to engage. You've been learning all about this on the Mel Robbins podcast. But you got the stress backpack on your back. You got all of this stuff ruminating through you. And it might not be something that is present of mind. It might not be like maybe all your kids are doing fine today. And so you're not worried about, you can't put your finger on it. Your stress backpack might be the fact that you're still living with the effects of childhood trauma. And so when you walk into work and you sit down, or you've got a list of phone calls you need to make, or you've got a report you need to finish, or you've got something you need to edit, and that's going to require you to concentrate, your brain literally looks at you and is like, excuse me? You want me to do an illustration right now? You want me to make a phone call to a stranger and try to sell them some of this stuff right now? Have you not seen that I have a stress backpack on? You want me to focus on 15 phone calls when I've been worried about how I'm going to pay my bills all day and what mom's going to do? Can we just look at some cat videos or some memes or some TikTok dance trends? I mean, I need a break. And then all of a sudden what happens? Next thing you know, 2 hours have gone. You haven't made a single phone call. You haven't drawn a single thing. You have not even cracked open the folder with a financial aid application in it. You've been online shopping. You've been scrolling through TikTok. You have been texting people mindlessly. You've been looking at social media. And then what happens next? You go, oh my God, holy cow, it's already 3 o'clock. I didn't do any of this thing. And next thing you know, holy cow, you're even more stressed out. And let me go back to that example that I said about micro procrastination. which is the number of times you pick up your phone and you mindlessly just check out and you start scrolling on social media. I often will look at my daughters as they're just like, it doesn't even make that noise, but I would imagine they're going through it so fast. I'm like, what are you doing? Nothing. Taking a break from life. And it feels like you're doing something, right? Because you're like, but you're doing this because you want to check out for a minute. You don't want to have to think about anything. You don't want to have to focus on something. Why? Because your brain and your body's already taxed. See, when you're stressed, it triggers that fight, flight, freeze alarm system in your body. You want to know what procrastination is? It's freezing. I'm going to say that again because I can feel the wake-up calls going ding, 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 ding as you're listening. I'm going to say that again. You know that you have a fight or flight response, right? When you get stressed out, you go on edge. There's also freeze when you're stressed. You feel paralyzed. Procrastination is a form of freezing. Let me explain this. See, life triggers you. A bill arrives in the mail or in your inbox, and you're thinking, how the hell am I going to pay that? All of a sudden, you get triggered by stress. Your brain goes into survival mode to protect you, and you freeze. So, without even thinking about it, you procrastinate on something. Why? Because you're trying to feel a little better right now. That's why you look at social media. That's why you blow off the 15 phone calls because those feel hard. That's why you blow off the writing that you need to do, or the video that you need to shoot, or the thing that feels hard. And then what happens is, because you've blown it off in order to feel a little bit better right now, you get a little behind. And guess what happens? You then feel more stressed. And this is exactly what Vidhi is experiencing. And this is why you got to get in front of this procrastination habit, because this will very quickly spiral out of control. And here she is talking about how she gets triggered, that when she sits down and she starts to worry about, and here's her stress, is it going to be good enough? I got to get this right. I don't know if this is the right drawing to do. And she starts thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking. And she even uses the word siren naturally. She even feels like it's an alarm that's getting triggered. Listen to this.
I realized whenever anything good is about to happen, a siren goes off inside my head. Oh, it's too good to be true. Oh, it's too good to be true. Oh, you think you can do this. Seriously, you can't. They chose the wrong person. You're clearly not good enough. There are hundreds of much more talented artists. When you finish this project, they'll know that you are a fake, that you are not good enough. So I think you should just stop doing whatever you're doing right now. So, yeah. Every time something good happens, I find myself running from it. And I think we name this self-doubt as wanting to be perfect. And for God's sake, I don't even like perfect. I don't want my drawings to be perfect. I like the imperfect parts of my drawing. And another thing, sometimes this negative talk, this negative voice gets so loud. I know that if I do certain things, like if I go and give myself a high five, I am going to feel better and I will be able to get back and do my job. But I just don't do it. I just don't. It's like feeling shitty has become a comfortable feeling. I don't even know if that makes any sense.
That last line, it's like feeling shitty, has become a comfortable feeling. Vidhi, what you are describing makes perfect sense. What you're describing is how stress and this desire, this tension between just trying and expressing yourself, and this deep-seated fear that it's not going to be right or it's not going to be perfect, and how that paralyzes you. That's why you're procrastinating. And what you're describing is how it triggers you to freeze when you sit down to work as an illustrator. And now you are in a vicious cycle because you're so used to feeling this way. It has become comfortable. And I want to make a really clear distinction, everyone, that the word comfortable doesn't mean you like it. The word comfortable means you're used to it. that it's normal to feel shitty. It's normal to feel stuck. It's normal to feel like you know what you need to do, but you can't make yourself do this. And I want you to hear me loud and clear. This is normal. This is a normal experience to have, and you can do something about it. And if you relate to Viddy like I do, good, because then you're seeing it. You're seeing that you're trapped in this cycle, and seeing it is really the first step, and you going, okay, good, because I'm going to break the cycle. I'm going to replace it with something else. If you're still trying to spot yourself in this vicious procrastination loop, let me give you another more relatable example that I've been hinting at several times. How many times have you had that experience where you're going to bed, you're brushing your teeth, and you start to feel stressed out as you're going to bed because you reflect on the night and you think, oh my God, I just wasted the whole evening. I just spent 3 hours scrolling through social media while I was lounging on the couch, watching something on Netflix, and I'm not going to get that time back. And now it's too late. And I know why you did it, and so do you. You were stressed out. You finished the day, and you were tired, and you were stressed, or you were worried about something, or you felt like, my God, I've been concentrating all day. I just need a break. They call this revenge procrastination. When you literally do nothing at night, you blow off time, you waste your time because you're getting back at your job because it stressed you out. And, look, is it a big deal to scroll on social media now and then? Of course not. But when this habit of micro procrastination or revenge procrastination starts to cause a cycle of you coming home and feeling stressed out all the time, and now you're going to bed stressed out, and you're waking up stressed out, and you didn't take the time tonight to set yourself up tomorrow morning, and now you're waking up stressed out because you're feeling behind based on what happened last night, this is how the stress builds and builds and builds. And so I think the big question is this: Mel, what do I do about it? You now got me freaked out. I'm no longer frozen. I want to run. I want to take a sledgehammer and break this cycle in half. Well, when we come back, you got me, and you got the research and the solution. Hey, it's Mel. I wanted to interrupt that video because I know you're here on YouTube looking for inspiration, looking for motivation, and looking for empowerment. So I thought we'd take this relationship to the next level. How about you join me in a brand new 3-part training class that I'm teaching right now. It's called Take Control with Mel Robbins. It is free. It is packed with science. It is packed with coaching, and it is packed with action. In fact, this class is so good that the second that you click the link below, you're in, class begins, and I send you an email with a link to the workbook you're going to download. That's right. I'm not joking around here. So if you're ready to tap back into excellence and start executing and winning again, this is an opportunity you cannot afford to miss. Let's stop watching YouTube and let's start doing what you're learning on YouTube. Click below and I'll be the one to push you and coach you into changing your life. All right, I'll see you in class. Now back to the video. I am about to explain the simple 3-step process that you are going to use based on research in order to break the vicious cycle of procrastination and to take back your time and your life. I mean, this is big stuff. And I'm going to warn you, like a lot of things that I share, at first glance, it might sound kind of stupid. This one might even sound a little schmarmy, but this is all research-based. And in fact, I have a copy of the 5-Second Rule book right here with me. I'm on page 145, which is where chapter 11 begins, which is all about the science of procrastination. Step number 1 to breaking this cycle. When you catch yourself procrastinating, forgive yourself. Step 1. The next time you catch yourself procrastinating, step 1 is forgive yourself. And there's a really profound reason why. Procrastination is not about laziness. It's not about a lack of discipline. It's not something you do because you're dumb. Procrastination is a coping mechanism. You just have a desire to feel good right now, and you deserve that. You have a desire to lessen the stress in your life, and you deserve to lessen the stress in your life. I get it. And this first step, to forgive yourself, this comes from research from Dr. Peichel. By the way, he has been studying procrastination for 2 decades. I mean, just imagine that? Studying procrastination for 2 days. That is a dedicated person right there, and we thank you for your service to all of us. His research found that people who forgive themselves are less likely to procrastinate again. In fact, there was a study that he did. I want to turn to the page. I got the book right here. He co-authored a paper about how students who forgave themselves for procrastinating were less likely to procrastinate on their next test. It sounds silly, but part of the problem that psychologists have uncovered is that when you're somebody that procrastinates, you're really hard on yourselves to begin with. In fact, being hard on yourself is one of the major causes of why you're so damn stressed. And so taking a moment and forgiving yourself, and you've got to actually have a talk with yourself where you are sitting there like, oh my God, 2 hours just went by? Wow, I must be really stressed out. I forgive myself for just blowing off 2 hours on social media. And you know what? I can spend the next hour setting my day up tomorrow for success. Or maybe you see all your bills and you realize you haven't opened those suckers in 2 months. Just go, wow, I haven't opened my bills in 2 months? I must be really nervous about this. I forgive myself for not doing that. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just do the best that I can. I'm going to face this head on. Because the next step that you're going to take, once you forgive yourself, you got to recognize that you're doing it. Why? Because patterns and habits repeat unless you replace them. And so noticing that it's a pattern, catching yourself, forgiving yourself, that is a way we're going to break this pattern. Because the step 2, based on research, you must identify what you're stressed about. So let's go back to the example of seeing bills piling up or getting the second notification that you didn't pay that parking ticket because you procrastinated and now you missed the deadline and now it's twice as expensive. Whoa, I really blew that off. I forgive myself. What am I stressed about? I'm really stressed about senior year of college ending. I'm really stressed about this presentation that's coming up. I'm really stressed that I'm behind on my sales quota. I'm really stressed that my spouse and I haven't really talked for the last couple days and they're really mad at me. I'm really stressed about getting these test results back from my dad. I'm worried about him. When you identify what you're actually stressed about, it loosens its grip on you. It comes out of hiding. And see, I think that stress backpack is an important analogy or metaphor that you can visualize. It's behind you. So you're not like thinking about it. When you identify what it is, you bring it right in front of your face. And because you're now identifying the source of the stress, it loosens its grip. And now what you're going to do is you're going to ask yourself, well, what would the future me want to do right now? Vidi, the artist in you that has already finished her portfolio, what does she want you to do right now? You've forgiven yourself. You've acknowledged what's stressing you out, which is the relentless pursuit of perfection. What does the future you want you to do? Or Mel, you're zipping up your pants and that bread basket is in there and, you forgive yourself for blowing this off for so long and you acknowledge the stress that you feel because you are getting older and this makes you feel like you're not in control of what's going on. What would the future Mel that had gone to see the doctor and has got this in place, what would she want you to do right now? And so that's what you're going to ask yourself. What does the future you want you to do right now? And it might just be the future you being the person that's waking up tomorrow morning. If you're sitting on the couch, 2 glasses of wine in, and you realize you've procrastinated for the last 5 hours, and you've acknowledged it, you've forgiven yourself for doing it, you've acknowledged the stress that you feel because, you are in a fight with a friend or a boyfriend or whatever. What is the you that's going to wake up tomorrow morning want you to do right now? I'll tell you what that you wants you to do. They want you to get off the couch. They want you to pack lunch for tomorrow. They want you to brush your teeth and turn off the TV and the phone and read 10 pages of nonfiction and get a good night's sleep. That's what the future you wants you to do. The future you does not want you to slip back into that vicious cycle and spend another 3 hours watching cat videos and memes and TikTok videos, which we both know is exactly what you would do if you didn't break the cycle by forgiving yourself for doing it for 3 hours, acknowledging what you're stressed about, and then deciding what the future you wants you to do instead. And then finally, use the 5-second rule. Why? This is not just listening time, people. This is doing time. We always say that about the Mel Robbins podcast. Use the 5-second rule. It's one of the most effective science-backed starting rituals on the planet for creating a new habit or pattern. And all you're going to do is you're just going to start. Because after you've forgiven yourself and you've validated what's stressing you out and you've tapped into the future you who is kicking ass and taking names and needs you right now, I just want you to start for 1 minute. So Vidi, when you sit down tomorrow morning and that self-doubt is there and that procrastination kicks in, no problem. Use the steps. And then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start drawing for 1 minute. And here's what we know based on the research. Once you make that first cold call, you're likely to keep going. Once you start writing that first sentence on this chapter, you're going to keep writing. Once you hit record on that video, you're going to keep going. Once you fill out the first name, last name line on the application you need to fill out, you're going to keep going. Once you pull up your resume template and you start writing, you're going to keep going. Because the problem isn't your ability to do what you need to do. The problem is you've been trapped in this stress and trauma and nervous system triggered vicious procrastination cycle. And look, I know this sounds like, really? Oh my God. Mel, come on. I was listening to this because I want to be more productive. I want to make more money. I want to get more shit done. I want to have more life balance. Now you're telling me productivity. It's about forgiving myself. It's about calling forth the future me. Why would I want to try that? Well, let's hear a word from our sponsors. And when we come back, I will tell you why. YouTube, you enjoying this? Great. We make these videos for you. You're watching the Mel Robbins podcast. And I want to make sure you've subscribed to YouTube. And I also want to make sure, please support this show. If you're enjoying this, if you're loving this, share these episodes. I know you got people in your life that are struggling with this. So please share this episode. Please subscribe to this channel. All of that helps us grow. And that helps us continue to bring this to you for zero cost. And you know I want to do that for you. Mwah. Back to the show. So why would you want to try that? Let me tell you why. Because procrastination is a habit, and this habit becomes a very vicious cycle. And that's exactly where Vidi is trapped. So let her tell you what it feels like when you don't nip this in the bud. When the vicious cycle of procrastinating on her art and her work is now creeping into other areas of your life.
The worst part of all of this, whatever this is, self-doubt or whatever, wanting to be perfect, whatever this is, the worst part is that this doubt, this fear is slowly seeping into all areas of my life. I know this is affecting all the relationships in my life. And I am just worried that this will take over and destroy everything I love. So I think the question is rather, how can I relearn to believe in myself? How can I relearn to believe that I deserve all the good things that come my way and that I am good enough? How can I learn that?
Vidi, I love that. I love that you reframed the question because that is what this is about. See, I told you procrastination was not about productivity. And I also told you that the thing that triggers it was going to surprise you. And that's why this topic is so important. I say every day that it is never too late to wake up and be the person you want to be. And you deserve that. And here's the truth on how you do that. You have to act like you believe in yourself before you believe in yourself. I'm going to say that again. You want to learn how to stop doubting yourself? You want to learn how to believe in yourself again? You want to learn how to not be so afraid or full of doubt or full of perfectionism, which, by the way, is something you learned in order to cope with crap that was going on in childhood. Perfectionism, everybody, is what you do in order to protect yourself from rejection. There's a huge, huge connection between your desire to be perfect, procrastinating, and the fear of rejection. And so using these tools, you not only are going to break the pattern of procrastination, You have a roadmap for the actions that take you to the future you. Because again, you have to act like you believe in yourself before you do believe in yourself. So let me just make this super, super detailed for you. Viddy, when you wake up tomorrow morning and you sit down in that chair and you walk through these simple steps that I've just taught you based on the research, when you start drawing, you are acting like you believe in yourself. And notice you started drawing before you did believe in yourself. That's why this is so powerful. When you see yourself acknowledging that you're procrastinating and labeling the stress and forgiving yourself for getting triggered by it, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, doing it anyway, because you're the kind of person that picks up the phone or picks up the pen or walks out the door or says that thing or does that thing, and you keep doing that consistently, you know what's going to happen? You're not only going to get the results that you want, you're going to believe in yourself because you're going to see yourself doing the work to get the results that you want. It begins with the action. And that's why I say the Mel Robbins podcast is not a listening podcast. It's a doing podcast. It's in the doing that you become someone new. You cannot wait to feel ready. You cannot wait to feel motivated. You cannot wait for procrastination to disappear. It doesn't work that way. You got to act before you feel ready. You got to act like you believe before you do. And that's why this topic is so important. It's why I believe this will be probably one of our most shared episodes, because everybody struggles with this. Whether you have kids in college or high school, share this episode with them. If there's somebody that you wish would change, this episode will be very eye-opening. If you have somebody in your life, maybe it's you, or maybe it's somebody that you care deeply about that has huge potential, and you're like, why won't they just start doing that thing? Why are they not writing their music? Why are they not starting their channel? Why are they not applying to nursing school? Why don't they believe in themselves? Why don't they just do that thing? I'll tell you why. They're stuck in a vicious cycle. And now you understand it. So send this episode to them so they can understand it too. We're going to focus on the components of a $1 million morning routine. And these are all based on research. And the thing I want you to think about is this. I really believe in something called behavioral activation therapy. And said very simply, behavioral activation therapy is the concept that if you want to change, if you want to be a better you, just start acting like the person that you want to be in the future right now in your day-to-day life. That the actions that you take today are what will turn you into the person that you want to become. And look, I know you have a vision for yourself. There is a version of you that you hold in your heart and in your mind that you see that is a better version of the person than you are right now. The you that has a better, more fulfilling job or career. The you that is truly enjoying a deeper connection in your relationship or marriage. The you that has better eating habits, better physical habits. The you that really is experiencing a better connection to the meaning and purpose in your life. That life that you envision, you're capable of achieving it. You can do the work to make that version of yourself a reality, but it's not going to happen out of thin air. You got to put in the work. And I personally believe that that work begins first thing in the morning. That every single morning you can wake up and experience a clean slate. You can wake up and you can create a morning routine. Not that the you right now likes, but the morning routine that the future you needs. And the bottom line is, whether you consider yourself to be a morning person or not, a morning routine is essential. A morning routine is like the first domino. Let's just agree that every single day of your life, you wake up and you have the opportunity to create a new experience in your life. And that first series of decisions that you make, which are basically your morning routine, it's like the beginning domino that falls. And if your morning routine sucks, like my morning routine used to suck, the first domino that falls in your day is procrastination, stress, anxiety, depression, suckiness. And that tends to trigger a whole lot more of that. Now, let's talk about the other option. Have you ever had a morning where you rolled out of bed because you had to be somewhere? You actually met a friend at the gym, and the exercise class was not only not that bad, it was kind of fun, and you felt really energized and proud of yourself for going, and you were set up for the meeting that you had, you were prepared. What's it like when that domino falls? It feels good, doesn't it? It makes you feel confident and alive and proud of yourself. It kind of creates this energy and this motion in your life. And that brings me to a simple statement. The solution to almost all the problems in your life is your morning routine. If you were to get serious about creating a morning routine that makes you feel like $1,000,000, that sets you up with the structure and momentum and positive choices that act like a domino, that send you into your day feeling like you have started the day off with a bang, checking the right boxes, getting it done, feeling proud, putting yourself first. Imagine how the rest of your day flows. You see, how you set your day up is how it ends up. Say it again. How you set your day up is how it ends up. And if you are serious about making more money or making change stick or getting things done or just feeling happier or finally learning how to put yourself on the list, let's get laser focused on your morning routine. Because when you get laser focused on your morning routine and setting yourself up for success from the get go, it's pretty amazing what flows from there. And so before we get into the components of my $1,000,000 morning, I want to tell you about the old Mel. And for those of you that listened to the episode that we did about how to create an evening routine that truly sets you up for success in the morning, you have heard part of this. But the old Mel was a complete flipping disaster. I don't even recognize the sad sack of a human being that I used to be. I was addicted to my excuses. I was addicted to my alcohol at night. I was addicted to feeling miserable and to complaining about my problems. In fact, you want to know the first decision I made every single day for years? Decades, in fact. The very first decision that the old Mel Robbins used to make, I'd hit the snooze button. Now let's just stop and unpack that, okay? You wake up, the alarm goes off, the sun is out, you have a brand new day in front of you. There are people around the world that died in the middle of their sleep last night. They didn't get another day. But you, my friend, you got another day. And instead of waking up, getting up, making the most of the next 24 hours of your life, you know what the old Mel Robbins used to do? Eh. Hitting the snooze button is procrastination in its biggest form. But you're not procrastinating on a paper. You're not procrastinating on a project. You're not procrastinating on a call or a chore. You're procrastinating on your fucking life. You're basically going, the first decision I'm going to make today in this miraculous thing called life is to not do it. I'm just going to avoid it altogether. I have the option to make the most of this time. I have the option to put myself first. I have the option to move my body, to practice mindfulness, to go outside and listen to the birds. But you know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to procrastinate. I think I'm going to avoid it. I think I'm going to roll over. I think I'm going to just opt out. And for me, I can now see that since the first decision I made was to avoid doing what I needed to do, it's So fucking obvious why I was a chronic procrastinator, because I began every day like that. And as you hit the snooze button and you avoid facing your life and you avoid facing the day, you're not feeling confident. You're not feeling energized. You're not feeling in control and empowered. You are basically embodying your excuses, your fears, your anxiety, your frustration, your fatigue. It all begins with the decision you make first thing in the morning. I believe that. And the reason why I'm being overly dramatic about this is because one of my biggest problems in life is that I avoided the hard stuff. I had a million reasons why I couldn't fix things or get a new job or pay off my bills or why I couldn't make things better or why my husband was to blame. And so if you're sick of your excuses, if you're sick of snoozing on your dreams, if you are sick and tired of letting procrastination and doubt and overthinking and anxiety run your life, let's talk about your fucking morning routine. Because let me tell you what the life of a chronic snooze button person looks like. It begins in the morning. You hit the snooze button 4 or 5 times. That was me. I'd stare at the ceiling, think about my problem, snooze, snooze, snooze. And the rest of the day, guess what else I was doing? Snooze, snooze, snooze on the problems. Avoiding the phone call I needed to make. That's hitting the snooze button on that. Avoiding the networking I needed to do. That's hitting the snooze button there. Avoiding the hard conversation I needed to have. That's hitting the snooze button there. Blowing off the gym. Another snooze button. It's not just about how you wake up. It's how you wake up, how you set up the day. That's how it ends up. The snooze button, that is just one example of the series of disastrous choices I would make for myself. Whether it was hitting the snooze button 5 or 6 times, waking up late, not giving myself enough time, skipping breakfast, never having time to exercise, never being organized about anything. It was just honestly a nightmare. And I always say you are one decision away from a different life. And one of the things that has changed my life is deciding that I didn't want to do that anymore. That hitting the snooze button every single morning was not going to help me change my life. So when I finally got serious about first getting out of bed, and then secondly, creating a small series of promises that I make and keep to myself every single morning. It was a game changer. And so let me help you figure out what $1 million morning looks like, okay? Here we go. Simple rules for a simple $1 million morning. Number one, when the alarm rings, get your ass out of bed. Look, it's your friend Mel. I know. There's a million reasons not to get out of bed. But Mel, it's 30 degrees. It's dark. It's raining. It's cold. It's depressing. I got a lot going on. I stayed up late. I'm exhausted. I'm hungover. I'm tired. My stress is through the. None of that matters. The only thing that matters is, do you keep the promises that you make to yourself? And I know I'm getting philosophical here. We were just talking about the alarm ringing. You know what the alarm is? That alarm, when it goes off, that is a promise that you made. You set that alarm, didn't you? You set that alarm the night before. And when that alarm goes off, now it's time to keep the promise. And how do you do that? I'll tell you how do you do that. You're going to use my 5-second rule. The alarm is going to ring, and you are going to count backwards 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you're just going to roll out of bed. That's it. It's not sexy. It's not fun. I have been getting out of bed this way for 14 years, and I still have to count backwards every single morning 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, because I don't like getting out of bed. I do not have the discipline to get out of bed. If I have the choice any day of the week to lay in a warm, cozy, amazing bed with bamboo, silky sheets and my husband sleeping next to me, or roll out of bed into the cold bedroom and start my day, I will choose the warm bed every day of the week. But that's not the conversation you and I are having, are we? We're not talking about comfort. We're talking about simple discipline. We're talking about the promises that you need to start to make. We're talking about doing things that are hard and uncomfortable. Why? Because you deserve to have the life that you want. And sometimes feeling like $1,000,000 for the whole day means you got to feel like shit for about 5 seconds. And that's what it's going to take. And this is also about keeping promises. If you can't rely on yourself to get up when the alarm rings, how the hell are you going to rely on yourself to do the really hard stuff? To have the hard conversation, to blow off the party and work on your resume, to get serious about your songwriting career or the second act that you want to create, or finally meeting somebody who's not got so much childhood trauma that you're their therapist and not your lover. If you can't roll out of bed simply because you said you would, when the going gets really rough, you're going to bail on yourself, which is why getting up when the alarm ring matters. Now, there's a second reason why. So, the first reason is you're building a level of integrity. You're keeping that promise. The second reason why I don't want you to sit there and lay in bed and I want you to get your ass out of bed when the alarm rings is because let's just between friends talk about what we're doing as we're laying there in bed. Uh, we're looking at social media. We're indulging our anxiety. We're experiencing trauma triggers. We are riding the wave of cortisol and stress hormones that are flooding through our brain and body. We're bemoaning the hangover we feel. We're spinning negative thoughts about the day ahead or the stuff we didn't do or all the regrets we have because we can't remember what happened last night. That's what you're doing in bed. Let's be honest with each other. Is that what the new you wants to do? Of course not. That's the other reason why, when the alarm rings, rule number one to the $1,000,000 morning, get your ass out of bed. Why? Because you're a winner and you got no time to lay in bed like a loser, like Mel Robbins used to be, and listen to that bullshit and feel those awful feelings. Get your fucking ass out of bed and get on with your day and show your body who's boss and don't indulge that bullshit in your mind because the longer you listen to it, the louder it's going to get. And look, I get it. Some days it's really hard. I don't give a shit. All that negative stuff is lying to you. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Shut it down and get your ass up. Because the fact is, if you want a new life, you're going to have to fight for it. If you want $1,000,000 in the bank and financial freedom, you're going to have to work for it. This stuff isn't easy, but it's simple. But you have to do it. So, number one, alarm rings, ass out of bed. And here's the final thing I want to talk about when it comes to this. Why are you doing this? You're doing it for you. You see, I think for years and years and years, you were getting out of bed for other people. Think about it. When you were little, when would you get up? You would get up because mom was yelling at you to, or dad was yelling at you to. You were getting up because you had to get to school or make the bus or get to work, or you get out of bed because you got to get the kids up or you got to get your aging parents up. That ends today. Today, when that alarm rings, it is a fucking wake up call. Ding, ding, ding. Your life is here, and it's time for you to get up for you. So, tomorrow morning, we're not waking up for somebody else. We're not laying in bed and listening to that bullshit because you get to make a choice. You can choose to do what you've always done, which means you're going to have what you've always had, or you can make a choice to show up as the new you. You can make a promise that you're going to not only wake up, you're going to get up for yourself, that you, my friend, are going to become the driver of your life. And that bullshit story, I'm not a morning person. Fuck morning people. Who cares? This is not about whether or not you feel like it. This is about you building the discipline because you deserve to, because that's the kind of person that you are. And let's also tell one more truth. If I needed you, you would get your ass out of bed for me. If somebody that you loved needed you to set that alarm an hour earlier because they needed a ride to the airport or they needed somebody to go to a doctor's appointment or heck, they just needed you to be there for them, you would do it. And so today, starting today, I want you to do it for yourself. And if you can't do that, then let me tell you the science. Okay? You want to know the scientific reason why you should never hit the snooze button? Let me hit you with some neuroscience here. 2 words: sleep inertia. That's right, sleep inertia. When you hit the snooze button instead of getting your ass out of bed, you mistakenly create a condition in your brain called sleep inertia. Sleep inertia is a state that your brain gets trapped in for 4 hours after you hit the snooze button. Because here's what happens when you hit the snooze button. When you hit the snooze button, you're awake. And as the alarm turns off, your brain then drifts back into sleep. And here's the thing that researchers have figured out: when you drift back to sleep after you've woken up, your brain starts a sleep cycle. And sleep cycles take 75 to 90 minutes to complete. So when that alarm goes off again in 9 minutes, and you're like, oh my God, like, have you ever noticed you're like in deep sleep when you drift back to sleep? That's because you're 9 minutes in to a 75-minute sleep cycle. That groggy, exhausted, heavy feeling that you have when you hit the snooze button several times and you can't quite get awake and you complain that you didn't get a good night's sleep, that's not a function of how well you slept. That's you and me being an idiot for hitting the snooze button and putting our brain in a state of sleep inertia. Because when you hit the snooze button, your brain is now freaking trapped in a sleep cycle. And it takes your brain, based on research, about 4 hours to get through that groggy ass feeling. So, the most productive period of the day, which is the first 2 hours after you wake up, it's when your brain has the highest speed of processing, it's when you're the most alert. You just flushed the best 2 hours of brain power down the frickin' toilet because you hit the snooze button. Why am I so passionate about this? Because I wasted years of my life doing this. I was a chronic snooze button alarm hitter. I was also a chronic all-nighter puller in college. I was chronically late with deadlines. This was prolific in my life. I would always complain about not getting enough sleep. The truth is, I lived in a state of sleep inertia. So take your power back. Whether you're inspired by the science, because it's just kind of stupid to do this to yourself once you realize that this is what happens, or you're inspired by this idea that wouldn't it be fucking awesome if, instead of waking up feeling obligated to the rest of the world, I took my life back and I started waking up for myself. I started seizing the day. I started seeing that alarm as more than alarm. It is a wake-up call for the rest of my life. So rule number 1 for $1,000,000 morning: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get your ass out of bed, because you, my friend, have a lot of cool stuff to do. And that brings me to rule number 2. Rule number 2 of the $1,000,000 morning. You ready? Because you deserve to feel like $1,000,000. You're going to make your bed. That's right. Make your bed. Why, Mel? Why are you making your bed? I'll tell you why. You're making your bed because your morning routine is a series of dominoes that fall, okay? And so by seeing the alarm as a wake-up call to claim the day, to keep the promise, to be the future you, the first domino that falls is integrity and discipline. How cool is that? The second domino that falls is making the bed, which is about completing things. See, normally the old Mel would roll out of bed after hitting the snooze button, and the bed would look like a tsunami hit it. And then for the rest of the day, whenever I walked into the bedroom, you know what I saw? Something that was incomplete. I saw a mess that needed to be made, that I had left for myself to clean up. And so, one of the reasons why I love this simple habit as part of your morning routine: always make your bed. And I mean always. If I am traveling for work and I'm staying in a hotel, I make my bed, even though you know somebody's going to come through and make it even nicer later. I don't care. Why? Because your morning routine is a way for you to be you no matter where you are. If I'm visiting my parents down in Florida or up in Michigan, I make my bed. Why? Because I'm myself no matter where I am. That's the power of your morning routine. This is about the promises you keep. It's about the rhythm in which you start your day. And this is a habit about completing something. Isn't it awesome to think that you start your day by checking a box? That you make your bed because you know it's a way to finish something? And there are mornings, not very often, but there are mornings where Chris might still be sleeping. Maybe I got up a little earlier and he's sleeping in for whatever reason. I just make my side of the bed. I might even tuck in the sheet around him, kind of tuck him in a little bit as a little act of love. But there's another reason why to do this. And I love this framing of it too, because making your bed is a way to give the future you a gift. Later on, you're going to walk into this bedroom and you're going to lay down and you're going to dream. And isn't it awesome to walk back into this bedroom tonight and there is a beautiful bed made for you, a beautiful place for you to lay down tonight and dream, a little gift from the morning you to the evening you to say you deserve this? It's also a gift because if you walk back into your bedroom, you've already taken care of it. There's nothing to do. There's no mess that's been left for you to clean up. You have left this gift of getting it complete. And that helps to build consistency. And I also love it because it doesn't matter where you are. You can do it wherever you are. Just amazing. And that brings me to rule number 3. We're going to hit the pause button. We're going to hit a word from our sponsors. I love our sponsors because they help me bring this show to you at zero cost. And then I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about rule number 3 of your $1 million morning. Hey, it's Mel, and we're talking about a $1 million morning routine. And you deserve that, my friend. So, rule number 1, alarm rings. It is a wake up call. Your life is waiting. Get your ass out of bed. You got stuff to do. Rule number 2, we're going to make our bed because this is about a series of promises that create a positive domino ripple effect to start your day. And rule number 3, high five habit, baby. You got to get in that bathroom after you brush your teeth and high five yourself in the mirror. Now, I did a whole episode about this, but I'm going to explain it for those of you that are brand new. Here's how we're going to do this. Right after you brush your teeth, and we're going to do it after you brush your teeth because this habit should be paired with something that you already do and you don't even think about. That's called habit stacking, and it's going to help you encode this habit, which is a habit of encouragement, a habit of optimism, a habit of momentum and motivation, a habit of self-love, of self-confidence. This is an incredible science-backed 1-2 punch that all comes down to simply high-fiving yourself in the mirror. So, you brush your teeth. You better brush your teeth. I don't even have to say that as part of your morning routines because please do not go out into the world with dragon breath or yellow carpet on your teeth. We're not doing that here on the Mel Robbins show. All right. I'm assuming that your $1 million morning includes scraping the crap off your teeth. So when you're done flossing, brushing, rinsing, spitting, put the toothbrush down. Take a moment. Look the human being in the eyes. You know who I want you to see? I want you to see the future you. I want you to see the $1 million you. I want you to see all your hopes and dreams in the hands of the person in that mirror. And I'll tell you something. That person deserves your support. That person needs your support. And that person needs you to keep a simple promise every single day. You're going to start your day and your $1 million morning with a little huddle with yourself. You're going to set an intention with yourself as you stand there after brushing your teeth. This is so grounded in research. You got to get your mind right. You're going to stand there and decide, who am I going to be today? Is today a day about peace, about freedom? Is it a day about momentum, courage? How am I going to show up today for myself? Who am I going to be? And then when you're ready, just like a winning team does, you are going to raise that hand and you are going to high five the future you in the mirror. You are going to send yourself into the game of life, knowing that no matter what happens today, you're a winner. You can do this. You can still win. You are going to do your best. You are going to try. You're going to shake off the bullshit that comes your way. and you're going to get out there and you're going to make it a great day. And the thing that I love about this, and again, I have covered the science in this in the episode that we released called The Most Important Habit You Can Have This Year. The first episode we released in January of 2023. It is a game changer. My husband is also on that episode, and it's crazy emotional because he describes what happened to him when he added the high five habit to his $1 million morning routine, the breakthrough that he experienced. Because you deserve to feel like $1 million, and you don't feel like $1 million when you're beating the hell out of yourself. And you don't feel like $1 million when you're dragging shame and regret and failure with you. And the high five habit is the science backed, fast tracked, research backed way to plow an entirely new neural pathway and relationship with yourself into your brain, body, mind, and spirit. I'm so passionate about this, but we spent a whole episode on it. So just trust me when I tell you, $1 million morning includes the high five habit. You are going to add a high five in the mirror to your future self and set an intention as part of your morning routine. Alrighty. Rule number 4, move your body and move your mind. Now, I need to say something because I haven't said it yet. And I forget to say this because I just think it's like something you need to do. It's like so obvious. And that is, have you noticed what I haven't done yet? I haven't looked at my phone. And I want to be very clear about this. You are to get your ass out of bed without looking at your phone. You are to get your ass out of bed before you look at your phone. You are supposed to make your bed without looking at your phone. And you are supposed to walk into the bathroom and wash your face and brush your teeth and do all that stuff and then do the high five habit and send the future you into the day after this awesome huddle and not look at your phone. And I now want you to move your mind and your body without checking your texts and email. Why? Because the second you pick up that phone and you look at a text or an email, you have now put the entire world in front of you. I want you to stop and think about how many people follow you online, even if it's just a couple hundred people on Facebook. Would you want them to walk into your bedroom every single morning? No, of course not. Would you want them to walk into the bathroom as you're standing there without underpants on, brushing your teeth? No. Then why on earth are you letting them do that by looking at your phone? Because that's what you're doing. And more importantly, the second that you look at your phone, you are giving your most important resource as part of your $1 million morning, which is your attention and your intention and your energy to other people. We gotta fucking conserve that shit for yourself. Like your dreams, your energy, your focus, your intention, your attention. You gotta fight to keep that yours. And so, yes, you may listen to something as you move your body, or you may listen to a guided meditation as you move your mind, but do not, under any circumstances, look at your freaking texts or your email, or you screw the whole thing up. It goes from the $1 million morning to bankruptcy 101 because you just let everybody bankrupt your attention and bankrupt your energy and stress you the hell out before you gave yourself the time you're not going to find the rest of the day. And this is so important because I know a lot of you are like, but I like to do it at the end of the day. Da, 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 da. You can't count on that. The only thing that you can count on is that first thing in the morning, if you get up early enough, you can put yourself first. You can move your body and you can have a mindfulness practice before the rest of the world steps in and steals your time and energy. And so get serious about this. Yes, you can have a longer workout routine at night. Nobody's saying you can't do it twice. I'm just advocating for something based on the research and common sense. And so, rule number 4 of the $1 million morning, move your body and move your mind. And I'm talking 10 minutes. There's a brand new study that's been published in the Journal of the American Medical Association that has found that just 10 minutes of power walking every day can add years to your life. And the best part is that walking is fast, it is free, and it is a way for you to achieve better health, a better mood, and even better sleep. Now, what is a power walk? Walk like you're late. That's all you need to do. Based on the research, for 10 lousy minutes. Get outside with your dog, your kids, your spouse, get out on the porch, whatever you can do for 10 lousy minutes. This is so important, not only because 10 minutes of walking like you're late, just briskly walking, it not only adds years to your life, it improves your mood. Mood impacts focus all day. And also, if you can get outside first thing in the morning and bang these 10 minutes out by walking your dog or walking with your kids or walking around the yard or whatever it may be, it resets your circadian rhythm when you see bright light or the outside first thing in the morning. And based on research, that's one of the best ways for you to develop healthier sleep habits. So, 10 minutes physical exercise, 10 minutes of a mindset practice, whether you're journaling, meditating, praying, listening to some sort of calming app, writing out prompts related to mindset that you're trying to develop. Just move your mind, move your body. All you got to commit with the mind is literally a minute. That's it. You're done. And bada bing, bada boom, you have put your mind and your body and your spirit first. And don't look at the phone yet. Don't turn it on the TV yet. Don't check email yet. Because rule number 5, and this is what will make you $1 million. This is what will help you pay off $1 million in debt. It's called the progress principle. The secret to getting big things done is making little progress every day. You want to know how I have accomplished everything that I've accomplished? I make little progress on things every day. And so before you look at your phone, before you look at email, before you let the rest of the world in, take 5 minutes and move the ball down the field on something that's important to you. This comes from research out of Harvard Business School. They call it the progress principle. It is so simple. People who feel like they've made progress on something that's important to them feel more fulfilled. Period. It's not about getting things done. It's about making progress on things that actually matter. So whether that thing that matters is getting the photo album assembled for mom and dad's anniversary, or it's getting the paperwork in for financial aid for the degree that you want to go get, or making progress is clearing out the back bedroom now that your kids have moved on so that you have a place for the future you to really work on that new book you've been writing. Or maybe it's progress on something like I've been working on, like launching a podcast, slowly chipping away at learning about it, studying it, moving it down the field. 5, 10, 15 minutes a day is all it takes because those little moves add up to major change. And that, my friend, is the $1 million morning. It's really that simple. It's based in profound research. It checks all the boxes. You can add anything you want to it, but what I love about it is no matter where I am, whether I'm home in southern Vermont, or I'm visiting my parents, or I'm visiting a friend, or I'm sleeping on my daughter's couch in Southie, or I am staying in a hotel, this simple series of 5 promises, it makes me feel like me. It makes me know that no matter where I am and what's going on, I know I can rely on me. Because every single day when that alarm rings, I keep that promise to myself. I wake up, I roll out of bed, I get started, I get my ass out of bed. I do not look at my phone. I do not look at my emails. I do not check my texts. I do not look at social media. I wouldn't dare do it because it's not part of my $1 million morning. I then go and make the bed. Why? Because it makes me feel like $1 million. I'm just that kind of person, you know? And then I set the intention with the future Mel. That's right, bitch. We're going to go get it today. High five to that. Get out there. Let's go. And that high five, it washes away the worry. It jacks me up. It makes me feel a little bit more like I'm up to something. Let's do this thing at 54. I feel kind of cool. Not going to lie. got to make time to move my body and my mind. 10 minutes. You got 10 lousy minutes. I still haven't looked at my messages or my emails. Not going to let it bankrupt me. I am on a $1 million roll, and then I got to move the ball down the field. That's it. That's it. That is it. And I'm serious about this. I want you to try this $1 million morning, and I want to help you get started. So if you want some help, let me kick your ass. Well, I'll actually just encourage you. Join my free 5-day challenge. I created this to help you put this into practice. I say this all the time. We're not just here for listening. This is a doing podcast. And so we created the no-cost Wake Up Challenge for you. Go to melrobbins.com/wakeup. Start tomorrow. Tens of thousands of people have already completed it. And in the challenge, you learn more hacks, tips, science, research, all kinds of things that will not only motivate you, it's going to help you become the future you. That's what this is about. And you know why we're doing this? Simple. Because I love you. And I believe in you. And I believe that you can do this. You can create a morning routine that makes you feel like $1 million. You can keep a set of simple promises that helps you create the foundation to achieve your goals. And trust me when I tell you, it will be worth it. What did you get?
I got that my sister is very kind.
No jokes. No jokes.
I'm being serious.
No, I want you to talk about you.
Okay. You have to just go for it and
Here's
be
the
messy
thing.
and not focus so much on what you're afraid of and being comfortable, but just do the thing that scares you, which...
It's even bigger than that.
Okay.
So if you wish to be happier, do you know what life gives you? Things that make you sad. And then you have to figure out how to be sad or happy when things are sad.
Right.
You know what happens when you say that you want peace in your life? You want things to be easier? Oh, you know what bubbles to the surface? All the stuff that's broken. And then you have to bring and figure out how to bring peace to this. And so for you, there is something that you needed to do in Florida.
Yeah.
So you would get serious about doing the work back here. And that there was something in the breakdown and whatever it is that you want to call it that was meant for you because you clearly needed it to come back here and actually do what you're meant to do. And look, it might take 30 years, but it'll be the best damn Netflix special I have ever seen in my entire life. One of the things that I'll never forget is that when I started arguing for her dreams, that's when she got really emotional. You probably heard her choking up when I said, you're moving back and you're going for it, and it's going to be the next best damn Netflix special you've ever had. It may take 30 years. And that's what's available to you too. Because the bottom line is, don't you dare listen to this and spend your time writing to me or DMing me about your excuses, about how old you are or how late you are or how much you've screwed up your life. Do you understand you are listening to a 54-year-old woman who had been thinking about launching a podcast since 2011? And I'm just 4 weeks into this. If I can reinvent my life and clear out the bullshit that I am doing to argue against my dreams, if I can get in touch with what is truly calling me and claim it and be honest and turn toward it and figure out how to make it a reality, so can you. And the fact is, absolutely everything that has sucked about your life or where you are right now, you needed, because you needed to experience unhappiness to realize, I want to be happy. You needed to feel small to realize that's not what's meant for you. You know, I thought that I was going to be a daytime talk show host. I thought that was my big dream. I would follow the giants like Ellen and Oprah and all these incredible people. And you know what happened? I did that job at CBS Broadcast Center with Sony Pictures for a year, and then I got fired from that job when COVID hit. Literally. And I was lost. And you know what I learned from that experience? I learned that that's not what I wanted to do. I didn't actually like it at all. I loved the people. I loved the machine. I did not like the product at all. There was something that was off. Every single thing that is happening to you is happening for those dreams of yours. And see, maybe you needed the breakdown that you're in order to realize you deserve to be happy. Maybe you needed that job you didn't like to realize you better get serious about creating what you want. Maybe you needed to apply to law school and get there and go, not for me, to realize something else was meant for you and you should stop denying the fact that you wanted to go into a creative field. So do not let the fact that you have spent a certain amount of time, or you're a certain age, or you're too early, or you're too late, or all of that crap to invalidate the truth. The truth is, you're right on time. If you're having the wake-up call that I intend for you to have as you listen to this, as you're realizing that your dreams are as alive as they have ever been, if you are starting to go, oh my God, I've been against myself, I'm going to be for myself. If you're starting to say, wow, I really have put the lid on. I really have stopped allowing myself or giving myself permission to have something incredible happen in my life. If you're having the wake-up call that I intended, good. Now let me tell you something else. There is no deadline on your dreams, and there is no age at which you're supposed to do this. You can start a business at 18. You can quit the job you had out of college at 24. You can go back to technical school after getting a master's at 31. You can literally adopt a child at the age of 39 when you're single. You can go to nursing school after you've raised your kids and you're 42 years old. You can learn how to teach your first online course at the age of 48. You could become a podcast host at the age of 54. You could get married for the first time at 63. You could skydive at 71. You could run your first marathon at 82. Your dreams do not disappear. There is no age at when you can't do something or when you're too early. It's complete bullshit. Your dreams are something you were born with. They are your responsibility, and they are also the life force inside of you. So stop running away from them and turn toward them. Run toward your dreams. Stop arguing against them and be the loudest voice for them. And for crying out loud, stop extinguishing that flame that's burning inside you. Enough with the excuses. Enough with the jokes and the downplaying. Enough with this fear. Your job is to turn toward that flame. Turn toward that flame and freaking fan it. Fan it with all your might. That flame inside you is supposed to burn bright. And the only way that that's going to happen is when you are honest with yourself about that thing you've been denying, about that calling that you feel, about the fact that you're meant for more than where you're at right now, that you deserve to be happy, that those dreams are real, and you have within you the ability to chip away at them. And that when you wake up every single day and you write down those 5 dreams, and you see and you hear and you feel the fact that your life has clues. Your life is trying to help you. Your life is trying to help you become who you're destined to become. I want you to know something. You're going to wake up happier every day. You're going to wake up feeling more alive and more self-expressed and more connected and energized when you wake up for your dreams. And I also want you to know that your friend Mel Robbins, I'm going to be right here beside you. I'm going to be here every single step of the way because I see you. I believe in you. I believe in your dreams. And I believe in your ability to make them come true. And so that's why I'm here. And I just feel whatever season of your life that you're in, whenever you hear this episode, this is when you're meant to hear this. There are no mistakes. And those dreams of yours are no joke. They are serious business. And they're your responsibility. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop fucking arguing and joking and making excuses and get your ass out there and fan the flame and start working on them.